Good morning, members. It is the scheduled time and we have a quorum. I call to order today's meeting. Welcome to the meeting of the Subcommittee on the Development of New Quality Productive Forces. It is the fourth meeting. Let's invite the government officials to come in. Members who would like to speak, you may now press the button. We welcome the Undersecretary for Innovation, Technology and Industry, Ms. Lillian Zhong, and her team. We also have Dr. Lawrence Cheung, Chief Technology Officer of the HK Productivity Council, and Mr. Jackie Zhong, Associate Executive Director of the Hong Kong TDC. The brief is CB-2116-2026-01, and the background brief has been prepared by the Secretariat. We will now invite Ms. Lillian Zhong to give us a briefing. Good morning, Chair. Today we are briefing the subcommittee on the government's key measures and latest progress in supporting the upgrading and transformation of SMEs through technological empowerment. Now, against the backdrop of ongoing economic transformation and continued volatility, promoting enterprises to upgrade and transform as well as fostering new quality productive forces has become our key policy directions. SMEs occupy a pivotal position in our economy, and the pace of the upgrading and transformation has a critical bearing on the overall economic momentum. To that end, the government has been refining our support strategies, encompassing financial support, technology adoption, capacity building, and market expansion to assist enterprises in enhancing their competitiveness and addressing the challenges arising from transformation. These measures also seek to facilitate better alignment with national development strategies, including the 15th Five-Year Plan, the development of the Bay Area, and the opportunities arising from the Belt and Road Initiative. Now, let me briefly highlight our measures. In terms of digital transformation, in early 2024, we have launched the Digital Transformation Support Pilot Program. Through a one-to-one matching basis, the program assists SMEs to adopt digital solutions covering shopfront sales, online promotion, and customer management systems. So far, 8,800 applications have been approved so far. Generally speaking, the applicants think it is useful for enhancing the efficiency, reducing operating costs, and increasing the number of customers. Now, to enhance the program, we will extend the coverage of the scheme to additional sectors and cover digital solutions in AI and cybersecurity to help meet the actual needs. In terms of promoting new industrialization and smart manufacturing, through the New Industrialization Funding Scheme, we provide support under a matching model for enterprises to set up high-end manufacturing production lines. So far, 79 applications have been approved, involving 130 production lines and $1.7 billion, covering a wide range of sectors. And also, we have the pilot manufacturing and production line upgrade support scheme, which subsidizes local manufacturing enterprises to upgrade their existing production lines with smart technologies so as to enhance their productivity. In June just past, we have launched the New Industrialization Elite Enterprises Nurturing Scheme. By selecting, supporting, and nurturing targeted high-growth enterprises which develop their business in Hong Kong and contribute to local economic development, we pool together resources from various sectors and nurture future industry leaders for new industrialization in Hong Kong. In terms of nurturing enterprises, the I&T parks have been providing comprehensive support for startups, including capital, matching, startup services, and marketing. The HKSTPC Cyberport as well as the HSITP in the Loop have different programs to help lower the research costs of enterprises and promote commercialization. Now, in January, the ITC has launched the Pilot I&T Accelerator Scheme to attract overseas and local professional startup service institutions with rich experience to set up accelerator bases in Hong Kong. Through their business networks and expertise, these service institutions provide more comprehensive and targeted support for our startups. Now, concerning tapping overseas markets, the dedicated fund on branding, upgrading, and domestic sales, that is SPUT Fund, has been providing support for enterprises to promote their brand, tap new markets, and also adopt AI solutions so as to enhance the adoption of technologies by enterprises. And also the e-commerce Easy has been supporting enterprises to tap into the e-commerce markets in the Chinese mainland and the ASEAN markets. Now, on enhancing capabilities through the 4 centers, we've been providing a 4-in-1 integrated services, including the Support and Consultation Center under the TID, the SME Center under the Hong Kong TDC, SME1 under the Hong Kong Productivity Council, and also Tech1. There's also a wide range of matching activities for enterprises to find solutions. Now, for the way forward, we will continue to refine our support measures, include deepening digital transformation and application of AI, as well as providing multifaceted funding and enterprise support to help SMEs. I look forward to hearing from members. Thank you. Thank you. So far, 10 members have pressed the button. They are Mr. Alex, Andrew Fan, Nick Chan, Albert Chuang, Dennis Leung, Lam Chen Sing, Ronald Chan, Ray Wong, Hong Kam-in, Duncan Chiu, and myself. 5 minutes each. Mr. Andrew Fan. Thank you, Chair. In recent years, the government has done a lot to help SMEs out. I want to commend the SPUT Fund, which helped a lot of SMEs to transform and upgrade and tap new markets. However, my ward office has received some inquiries. Now, the complaint is that there has been delay in approval of the application under the SPUT Fund. It has been 1 year since the submission of reports and application, and the case is still under vetting. Now, the approval has been granted for the 4th tranche, but the applications in the 3rd tranche is still under scrutiny. It caused some applicants to miss out on chances to expand. So how can the government enhance the speed of approval so that the applicants can receive the funding sooner and enhance their new quality productivity? Which government official will take this question? Mr. Steve Jie, Deputy Director General of the TIC. Thank you. Now, the applicants have to submit the audit report within 2 months after submission of the application, and then it will be reviewed by the panel. Now, since it involves public funding, we would often require additional documents support from the applicants. Now, for individual cases, we will review the situation after the meeting. In terms of communication, we have been communicating with our secretariats closely, and we have sufficient manpower. Under the Productivity Council, there is a team of 100 members responsible for vetting applications. For delay in individual cases, we will review these cases to identify the hurdles. Mr. Andrew Van, thank you. Now let's follow up on the said case after the meeting. However, overall speaking, would there be any anomaly reports to highlight those cases which are falling behind the timetable? Mr. Steve Jie. We do follow up on the vetting progress of applications in each of our meetings. For cases with incomplete document support, we will pay particular attention to those cases. I would like to follow up on the question. Now, there are often complaints about delay in approval under BUD fund. So is there actually a KPI for the timetable to approve applications? I think it would be great if you can provide us with a report so that we don't have to keep asking you this question. Are there KPIs for approving cases? And also the reasons for delays. At present, we haven't set a KPI for the time required for approving cases, but we are eager to approve the application so that the funding can be granted soon. There is even a KPI for public works projects to complete, so would you set a KPI for yourself in terms of case approval, unless there are exceptional circumstances and you have to make those exceptional cases known to the applicants. Otherwise, you would keep defending yourself and there would still be complaints from the applicants. We can consider that. However, there are individual complexities in different cases. For example, whether all the documents are ready, since we are very careful about spending public money. I think other members will continue to ask you this question. Mr. Nick Chen. Thank you. My question is in relation to BUD fund. The approval process is too slow. What's the average time of approval? And when will the subsidies be disbursed? Now, there are complaints that despite submitting the funding items clearly, the expenditure items clearly, funding has not been granted. Now, second question, the new industrialization elite enterprises nurturing scheme. It is a scheme focused on selecting targeted high-growth enterprises. So what about aerospace, economy, businesses? Will they be covered by the scheme? And will SMEs be able to benefit from this scheme? Under Secretary. Thank you, Chen. Thank you, Mr. Chen, for your support and concern about the new industrialization elite enterprises nurturing scheme. As long as it is an enterprise, in emerging sectors, we would consider it. Now, we have just announced the beginning of the nomination period in June. Now, enterprises in life and health technology, semiconductor, AI and robotics, and smart devices, digitalization, upgrading and transformation, and future and sustainable development, businesses in these sectors are eligible. So for aerospace businesses, if they can meet the eligibility criteria, for example, having incorporated in Hong Kong for 2 years without being listed, then they would be considered. Now, the nomination panel would comprise the Cyberport, the HKSITP, and the HKSTPC. Now, in August, there will be a vetting process, and the results will be announced soon.
What about the BUD fund, Mr. Steve Tse?
Once we have all the information, the vetting will take 60 days before the approval goes out. Now, we now have application easy. Once we have all the information, then it takes only 30 days for an application to be granted. We understand the huge demand for such funding from SMEs. We work with the Secretariat to make sure that the funding goes out swiftly. I asked about the actual average vetting time. Have you looked into how long it takes on average? For more than 90% of the cases, they met this target. Thank you. 90%. Next, Mr. Albert Chua. The speaker is not speaking to the microphone. My question is about the new industrialization elite enterprises nurturing scheme. I welcome and support the scheme. The sector wants to see development across the entire manufacturing sector, and that means there's huge room for upgrading for sectors like food and traditional Chinese medicine. So my question is, apart from new industrialization elite enterprises nurturing scheme, for traditional industries with huge potential or specialist tech industries, do we also have a similar list so that emerging industries and traditional industries can progress in tandem under Secretary? The member's question is about how we support traditional industries in upgrading and transforming themselves, and also better support for them. That's why we have the new industrialization elite enterprises nurturing scheme. The member used the word comprehensive. For us, we also want development across the board. Now we have the Manufacturing Plus scheme, or the pilot manufacturing and production line upgrade support scheme. So people can upgrade their production lines with AI, smart technology, big data, real-time monitoring. We provide $250,000 in funding for each project. Now for food and the traditional Chinese medicine industries, there's a new enhanced version of the new industrialization funding scheme. For each production line, the funding is up to $15 million from the government. So a company has existing production lines, they want to incorporate new tech devices, and they want new production lines, they can take advantage of the NIFS. Mr. Chuang mentioned food and TCM. Those businesses have applied for this scheme. Now for natural health food, there's a company making such food applying under the scheme. So there's a new smart production line for health supplements. The production cycle has been shortened and they have achieved efficiency. The product is selling well, and they now have 15 to 20 such jobs under the production lines. Now we have covered over 130 such production lines with the funding. There's also the new industrialization acceleration scheme. For local firms and overseas firms that have come here, they want to set up manufacturing operations here or pilot production here, we provide support for them, covering their capital expenditure up to $200 million. On further incubation or further incentives, we do the work through the Hong Kong Productivity Council, which offers different schemes. So this covers the intellectual property and also transforming their production lines by incorporating the latest technology to achieve greater efficiency, as well as the manufacturing basis, the equipment, and application for subsidy schemes. The support covers all those areas. Since we have time, I want to invite Mr. Lawrence Chung from the Hong Kong Productivity Council to elaborate on this point. On the manufacturing sector, under the NIFS and the NIAS, many projects were approved. The members' concern is about the traditional industries. Over the past couple of years, more than half of the enterprises we helped were in food processing. Food is crucial, and Hong Kong brands in food businesses are popular with customers. 30% of the projects have to do with health supplements and medicine. We covered all kinds of businesses. Over the past 6 to 12 months, we have seen more high-value adding industries such as battery companies and companies in recycling batteries. We also covered semiconductor makers. We actively assist Hong Kong's industry in adopting new quality productive forces in upgrading and transformation. Mr. Dennis Leung. The government have done much on new quality productive forces. We're trying to achieve breakthroughs in scientific R&D. We also provide resources for small and medium enterprises in INT so that they can achieve upgrading and transformation. We also provide support for upgrading and transformation in other areas. We got complaints from the staff at the TID in my last term as a unionist lawmaker. The frontline workers were temp workers. They had to address inquiries and they had to vet documents. Civil servants did little work. So the frontline workers did the bulk of the work for the civil servants to approve their work. So can we rationalize the workflow so that the application becomes a more seamless process? So the workers take a deadline-oriented approach, so they only focus on what happens in the last 60 days. We need to do better. The HKPC offers discounted fees. This points to an issue. That is, the consultancy fees were too high. Can the government review the situation and further lower the fees and benefit more users? On technological breakthroughs, we have to work with the Education Bureau. At the secondary school level, we need more courses so that the new quality productive forces become part of the school curriculum so that people can pursue such disciplines at the university level. Now, land for manufacturing bases is another problem. Many people take an interest in manufacturing, but we don't have the manufacturing bases. At the Subcommittee on Developing Chinese Medicine, we also highlighted the issue. Many companies in TCM have yet to secure the good manufacturing practices. So can the different government departments talk to each other and identify the problems and then resolve them so that we can achieve breakthroughs? So this is for the government again. After companies get the subsidies, they submit all the reports, but the payments have yet to be disbursed even after 1 or 2 years. What's holding up the process? For companies in the food business, they want to recycle their food waste, but then they struggle with the application with the Environment and Ecology Bureau. So can different bureaus and departments talk to each other and get the problem sorted on a one-stop platform? So a string of questions. Undersecretary. So we will address some points first, and then the Deputy Director General of the TID can tell us more about the Bud Fund. First of all, I thank the member for his questions. We want to reform our practice precisely because some of the points issued. First, it's about the HKPC. The HKPC's mission is to help businesses in making the most of government support, and also in supporting the upgrading and transformation of businesses. There is assistance, there is technical support, but the point is the HKPC cannot be in the position to compete for profits with businesses. For SMEs, there's a 50% concession for the fees to be paid by SMEs. When SMEs want to add a production line, or they want to bring in new equipment, they want to revamp their manufacturing bases, or SMEs want to expand their business overseas, the HKPC comes in for testing, certification, and consultancy. The support comes in the form of concessions and also support in applying for the assistance. Mr. Chung can elaborate on these points in a moment. Another point has to do with the technical expertise, and this has to do with the nurturing of talent. We have to work with the Education Bureau. And this is also the direction of our efforts in new quality productive forces. Talent is the primary productive force. It's also the most crucial resource. The core of all government policies is about talent. At all school levels, there are measures. At the primary level, there's knowing more about INT, and then at the secondary level, there is the innovative lab in INT. At the university level, there are a vast amount of resources going to schemes. There's a STEM internship for university students to undertake internship at companies. We review the scheme every year. 98% of the participants expressed a desire to pursue a career in INT after graduation. Employers also want to hire those interns. So the focus of our measures is that we want universities and businesses work together. We want institutions and industries to work together. We want local and overseas businesses to work with tertiary or simply post-secondary institutions or even secondary schools. It's all about the hands-on skills. We want not just the book knowledge, which is more about theory. We also want more competitions and students to pick up the hands-on skills. The member also highlighted land for manufacturing bases. We are also driving reform on this front. There are legacy reasons at play. We now have to redouble our efforts to pursue advanced manufacturing. Land is indeed a constraining factor, so we're now trying to develop more land in the northern metropolis, including the loop, the Sentin Technopole. We're also driving changes in the science park. They have land occupied by industrial estate. We want businesses to commit more resources to industrial development and technology. We don't have to sell the land. We can offer concessions in the land premium or even the rent. The member also highlighted manufacturers struggling to secure GMP or good manufacturing practices. So land is one factor. There were also other factors. The member also highlighted other factors. All government departments work closely together. So it's not like each department simply works within its own silo. Mr. Lawrence Chung can also tell us about the BUD fund. And then another official can take the other question. On consultancy fees, we offer special concessions for SMEs. For the past 3 years, the concessions amounted to over $10 million for SMEs. We also offered many free services, including training. There were over 1,100 training sessions each year. For more than half of such sessions, those sessions were free of charge. So that's something that we hope assisted SMEs. Mr. Steve Te. I thank Mr. Leung for the concern he shows for frontline workers. For BUD fund applications, the past couple of years, we saw a peak. In 2023, there were 4,000. In 2024, there were 7,000. In light of the peak, we deployed manpower flexibly to support the workers on those teams. In 2025, we saw an enhancement scheme. The application numbers steadied. The manpower was devoted to the vetting of the applications. We now focus on the vetting of the report so that we can fast-track the vetting and take pressure off frontline workers.
Mr. Lam Shen Singh, thank you. Paragraph 10 of the paper mentioned the HSITP in the loop, that there are already 3 blocks of building in operation, including talent apartments. Now, down the road, besides supporting large enterprises. How will the government attract and support SMEs to set up in the loop? Will there be incentives in terms of tax concession and rental concession? We want to encourage SMEs established by local graduates to pursue developments in the loop. Now, second, there are different schemes to help SMEs to transform and upgrade. For example, the Digital Transformation Support Pilot Program. So on top of financial support, can the government also provide professional consultancy services and guidance to SMEs? Some SMEs are really not knowledgeable about the process. There are intermediaries providing services to SMEs to spend their subsidies. But in the end, the outcome is underwhelming, and there are even some unscrupulous intermediaries deceiving the SMEs of their hard-earned subsidies. So will there be guidance services provided by the government to help SMEs upgrade? Now, final question on Bud Fund. The Finance Committee has approved the funding to inject more money into the Bud Fund. However, the support ratio has been dialed down, and also the first tranche payment has been reduced from 75% to 20% only. So that's, of course, has to do with the government's financial position. Now, for technological solutions with great effectiveness, for example, AI adoption, can the government provide more support under Bud Fund, for example, returning to the 1-to-1 matching ratio? Under Secretary, thank you. I will take the first two questions, and I will defer the third one to Director Xie. Now, concerning the loop, our strategy is to use leading enterprises as the focus and then build a vibrant ecosystem in the area. We want to pull together a wide range of enterprises in emerging industries from the entire industry chain. Now, we've just launched the first incubation program in the HSITP, focusing on AI and data science and life and health technology. We have received 750 applications. In the end, 108 startups have been selected for the incubation program. They will receive a series of support, including financial support as well as rental support. Also, we will offer them steering as well as matching services. We will provide networking services for them to tap overseas markets. Now, besides the DTSPP, the Digital Transformation Support Pilot Program, there will also be technical supports available for SMEs to help them find available solutions from different suppliers in the market. So under the DTSPP, the Cyberport would provide a list of vetted, reliable service providers, and there would be a very transparent price table so that the applicants can select the one most suitable for them. Now, cybersecurity solutions are also in much demand. So we have provided a list of certified service providers. Applicants can find reliable solution providers from the list. Director Xie. Now, concerning the bud fund, we have adjusted the matching ratio. It has started. The adjustment was put in place back in 2025. So it takes time for us to monitor the effectiveness of the change. At the same time, the budget has proposed some additional enhancement. For example, enhancing the application ceiling of the easy bud from $100,000 to $150,000. We have also extended the scope to cover AI solutions. Now, the first tranche disbursements has been adjusted from 75% to 25%. Now, in the past, there were businesses who failed to complete the project, even though significant amount of funding has been dispersed to them, and we have to claw back the funding. So we are more careful about the size of first disbursements nowadays. So we will continue to review the matching ratio and the size of the first tranche disbursements continuously. Now, can we consider adjusting the matching ratio for successful projects? Now, so far, no applicants has fully utilized the $7 million ceiling. Now, for second time or third time applicants, they are more familiar with the process and they can obtain funding more easily. Mr. Ronnie Chen. Thank you, Chair. Now, the DTSPP, as mentioned in paragraph 4, it is very well received. Now, 8,799 applications have been approved. So some $400 million have been spent out of $500 million. Now, with the additional $300 million, I think there's still another $300 million remaining in the fund. Now, the scope covers AI solutions and cybersecurity. So the funding amounts for each applicant may be on the high side. So the average amount is $49,000 for each application. Can you adjust the amount upwards a bit? Now, it seems that there are 7,500 applications still available, considering the funding amount remains. Now, $1.7 billion have been invested under the new industrialization funding scheme. The matching ratio is 1 to 2.4. It has surpassed your target. So I think the scheme is well received. The scheme will expire in 24 months, so it has been 2.5 years since the enhancements. So some applicants should have completed the entire transformation process. So according to the requirements, they should submit a review report after the completion of the project, including whether the revenue has improved and whether jobs have been created. So we need to review whether they have contributed to the real economy locally. Now, paragraph 8 and paragraph 19 mention that to enhance transformation of SMEs, there will be tailor-made technical solutions for them, including AI adoption. Now, it requires computing power. When there is a huge demand for computing power, it may drive up the price. Now, the Sandy Ridge data park is still being built, so there's still a shortage of computing power supply. Now, the government is now procuring computing power in a centralized manner and leasing the computing power to private businesses. So is there a similar plan for the SMEs? Under Secretary. Thank you. I will take the third question. And concerning the DTSPP, I will defer to Dr. Lau Second question on the new industrialization funding scheme, I will defer to Ms. Frida Zheng. Now, the members' question aligns with our thinking. All industries require empowerment by AI. The foundation for that is computing power. So far, we have a 5,000 flops of computing power. Now, the Subcommittee has also created a supercomputing center with 3,000 flops. We also have the Hong Kong Science and Technology Park as well as other universities providing 5,000 flops of computing power. Now, with the Sandy Ridge Data Park completed, there will be a 13-fold increase in computing power. Now, in terms of sharing computing power, we have an AI subsidy scheme. That's AISS. Now, we offer a 30% concession for industries to use the computing power provided by the cyberpark. In the future, there will also be additional computing power available in the loop. On whether we would provide more sources of computing power to SMEs, we will continue to study that. Dr. Lau. Dr. Terry Liu. Please speak into the mic. Thank you. Concerning the enhancements to the DTSPP, Cyberport as the agency for the scheme, we have been reviewing the applications approved over the past 2 years. We would consider the market price as well as the latest need of SMEs to upgrade and transform, as well as the efficacies of the previous applications to decide the scale of the next funding tranche. Now, subject to the approval of the electrical, we will launch the next tranche by the end of this year. Ms. Zheng, Ms. Frida Zheng, thank you. Concerning the NIFS, allow me to update members on the latest progress. Now, by July, the implementation of the scheme has been well. We have supported 79 applications involving over 130 production lines. Now, these 130 production lines have created a lot of jobs. The government's funding amounts to $500 million. So for every dollar we invest, the applicants will invest $2. So it has generated $1.2 billion of private investment. In terms of jobs, the estimation is 600 more jobs created. So in the contracts, 500 jobs have already been promised.
Mr. Ray Wang, I'm from the industrial sector. We support schemes to support SMEs in upgrading and transformation. The DTSPP will see an extra injection of $300 million. Each enterprise gets $50,000 in subsidy. That amount will do little. For an entire company, that amount will not let them buy anything useful. There's also a rigid requirement that companies only buy off-the-shelf solutions. Now, for people in industries and in business, they have to do cleansing and customization to create something useful. So off-the-shelf solutions are not good enough for companies. The Undersecretary also mentioned the AI subsidy scheme, or AISS. That scheme effectively excludes SMEs because the AISS focuses on academic literature in terms of the published journal articles, and that means SMEs cannot take part in it, they're excluded. So can we enhance the pilot scheme by increasing the funding ceiling? And can we also allow customized solutions? Can we set aside 30% of the scheme or the subsidy for customization and API? Can we also include customization and also leasing in the funding scheme? I believe this is also the direction for the Sandy Ridge Data Center. And can we also break down the data barriers? Can we design a B2B2C scheme? And we need to break down the barriers for the AISS. We should include AI service suppliers in the AISS so that those companies should be able to get 70 to 90% of the computing power under the AISS. Of course, there should also be clauses requiring the providers to return some of the surplus computing power so that the downstream users can also benefit. Undersecretary. He made some concrete suggestions. I'm grateful for that. The members' concern is the funding ceiling. We note such concerns and we will consider the point holistically. The DTSPP is meant to support SMEs in making the most of existing ready-made solutions. So the purchase of machinery or equipment may not be covered by this scheme, but there are other schemes offering support. The AISS is a $3 billion scheme. 20 applications have been approved. Companies and institutions benefiting from the scheme can engage in large language models, synthetic biology, and other aspects. The members suggested expanding the list of vendors and solutions of the DTSSP and then also putting the list under the AISS. The DTSPP and the AISS are different schemes. The AISS is about helping institutions with accessing computing power for their own research and development. In the proposal from an institution that requires support from other areas such as hardware and software, there are other schemes that will cover such needs. So the two schemes have different purposes. I want to reassure the member that our focus is helping SMEs use AI solutions. It can be a technology solution or the computing power. At Cyberport, they are planning ahead. They have the OPC hub. This means for one-person companies and small companies, there's support in terms of computing power. These teams also get to talk to vendors for tokens at an affordable rate. There are also AI agents and open-sourced LLM. So that scheme will offer one-person company space in terms of cloud services, AI inference resources, computing power, and AI agents or intelligent agents. This is also what the parks are doing, so there are all kinds of support available. Mr. Hong came in. Thank you. I thank the government for taking us through the schemes to support the upgrading and transformation of small and medium enterprises through technological empowerment in the form of financial support, technological adoption, capacity building, and market expansion. Now, I have some suggestions. It has to do with the feedback from the industry, and this has to do with the BUD fund. The funding ratio is 1:3 government to enterprise. The industry wants a 1:1 ratio, and they also want a wider scope so that the scheme covers AI training. And my next point has to do with the DTSPP. Now the funding ratio is 1:1. The funding ceiling is $50,000. The industry's feedback is that AI solutions and cybersecurity solutions are very costly, and $50,000 is not enough. Can we raise the ceiling to $100,000, or can we have some sort of tiered support? As paragraph 4 says, the government is actively considering including more industries under the DTSPP. The paper mentions food and beverage, personal services, and tourism, but no reference is made to other sectors. Can we include export and import, professional services? Can we have a list of the industries? When can we expect a list including more sectors from departments? The greatest challenge for SMEs is that they have to pay out of their own pocket first, and then they seek the reimbursement. I have a case. In this case, in 2025, the reports were submitted. In February 2026, I wrote to the relevant government departments. I got this reply saying that our department will handle the case as soon as possible. And then this month, I got the message from this company saying the payment has yet been disbursed. So another 5 months. Do we have a timetable for reform such that we can shorten the lead time for disbursing or granting the payment? Undersecretary. Thank you. I will first comment on the DTSPP, and then Mr. Steve Tse can tell us about the BUD fund. I thank members for the support for the scheme. We also note members' comments. We have to consider the points holistically. This is a 300 million scheme, or rather the injection will be $300 million. We want more businesses to benefit. So we have to strike a balance in our approach. We do note members' comments. We will also consult Legislative on the enhancement. We want more businesses to benefit. We also have to consider the cost effectiveness of this scheme. We have to consider the kinds of needs that businesses have. We have to consider these matters holistically. We do want to incorporate more sectors. The scheme covers retail, food and beverage, tourism, and personal services now. Can we include more sectors? Other sectors also need solutions in cybersecurity. We note the comments. We will consider incorporating them. Now, Mr. Steve Tse will elaborate on the point about the BUD fund. Thank you. On the matching ratio under the BUD fund, in 2025, we brought in the enhancement, so we made the change. The number of applications remained on the high side. In 2025, we got 5,000 applications, slightly lower than in 2024, but higher than 2023. We take into account the government's fiscal position and also the industry's need. When appropriate, we will review to see if there's room for adjustment. The budget announced enhancements to the BUD fund. There will be a change to the limit under EC BUD. It's from $100,000 to $150,000, up 50%, and it will also cover the use of AI on training. The focus of the BUD Fund covers 3 areas: brand development, upgrading, transformation, and also expansion of market expansion. For day-to-day operating expenses, those expenses fall outside the BUD Fund. Staff training is something that companies have to cover with their own expenses. The BUD Fund has helped companies with AI because the fund allows companies to take on more workers to pursue certain projects. One company developed their own in-house AI tool, so we have seen such success stories. Mr. Hong also mentioned cases in particular. I wonder if that has to do with the export marketing fund, because that fund involves reimbursing the expenses. So those businesses may have taken part in expos. Of course, I'm not commenting on Mr. Hong's case in particular, but generally speaking, when it comes to expos, reimbursement is needed. More complicated cases warrant greater caution. We have to be sure that those applications have to do with the fund's purpose. Once a company submits all the information, the vetting will follow in a queue. Mr. Duncan Chu. I share other members' questions about the BUD Fund. I have a question about e-commerce easy. In 2020, as at the end of 2026, 165 applications had been approved involving $80 million, so roughly $400,000 per case. Under the TID, there are more than 100 workers on the BUD Fund. On e-commerce easy, how much did it cost to operate and approve the applications? 165 applications were granted. The point is to promote e-commerce in the mainland and in the ASEAN states. Have we measured the success? Did anyone manage to explore new markets in the ASEAN countries? Do we see new business for SMEs? Have we measured, or will we measure, the success? I also got industry feedback that since the funding ratio was changed for the scheme, there has been a plunge in the number of applications. Do we have such numbers? Do we have the figures on the number of applications before and after the change in the funding ratio? Have we looked into why? Is it because of the change that the number of applications plunged, or are there market factors? Do we have the details? Mr. Steve Te. Thank you. On vetting, the Hong Kong Productivity Council has roughly 100 workers on the applications. They run the entire BUD fund. In 2025, we received more than 5,000 applications. We do not distinguish between the sub-schemes under the BUD Fund, so we don't have the breakdown of the costs. On market expansion in the ASEAN countries, for 2025, we approved almost 300 applications. Those cases involved mostly the mainland, but we are willing to provide resources for expanding the e-commerce market in ASEAN. E-commerce easy, as at the end of May 2026, it says only 165. Why did the department say 300 cases? Can we clarify this point, please? So that's the 2025 figure. For 2025 as a whole, 300 cases. For ASEAN, there were 100 such cases. So that's the figure as at the end of June. What about the cost of application, cost of vetting, and also the success? We look at the reports submitted by the applicant businesses. we look for whether the companies manage to pursue those projects. So did they spend the money on advertising as they said they would? The Bud Fund is meant for SMEs. We try to make things simple for businesses so that they can secure the funding more easily.
So I think you should have shared the workload across the team. So there should be a breakdown concerning the costs involved in vetting. For example, number of man working hours and also the cost of vetting for each case. So I look forward to receiving a written supplements from the government on the vetting costs for projects under e-commerce easy and also the ratio of application. We will supplement those figures after the meeting. Many questions were raised in relation to the Bud Fund, so it shows that members find the information on the paper insufficient. So without sufficient information, I think the Audit Commission would step in. So please give us the information we ask for. So we can know whether the fund is effective in helping SMEs tap new markets. Post-application evaluation is needed. Otherwise, we will just keep asking the same questions. Chair, we invite Director Xie to supplement. Yes, we will review the situation after the meeting. Mr. Michael Lee. Thank you, Chair. Mr. Chiu and the Chair have asked questions in relation to Bud Fund, a very popular scheme for the SMEs. Many of us want to know how effective this scheme is. Now, the ITIB and also the ITC have been providing much support for enterprises in terms of adopting technology. So in terms of competition in the local markets, can you give us more figures concerning the referral figures? Now, there are 4 SME centers supporting local businesses. So the applicants have to approach each of the center. Or can there be a one-stop approach? To provide transformation services under a premium package for the SMEs. Now, for unicorns, they need to maintain a very close contact with different parties in the Chinese mainland, for example, provincial governments and so on. Now, for outward-looking businesses, they may approach the TDC, or if they want to conduct research, they may have to go to the Productivity Council. It seems quite confusing. So can there be an info pack to tell SMEs where to go to? SMEs quite often lack the knowledge to digitalize themselves. They are hesitant to embrace the transformation because they lack the knowledge and they are worried whether the money would be well spent. They want to spend what limited resource they have to successfully transform their business model. So how can you ensure that your services are down to earth and meets the applicant's need? Thank you. Indeed, applicants can benefit from one-stop and full-cycle services. Indeed, there are 4 supporting centers for SMEs as mentioned in the paper. But the philosophy behind the 4 centers is the same. Now, when SMEs are considering what kind of services they should get from the government, for example, tapping overseas markets or procuring solutions, they can approach either one of the 4 contact points. Now, for a business in the technology park, there would be a center in those parks. Now, for manufacturing businesses, they might have a better contact with the Productivity Council in the past, so they can simply approach the Productivity Council. Now, besides physical offices, we also have hotlines available for businesses. So like the member has said, our thinkings are the same. We seek to provide one-stop services to SMEs or large businesses alike. They can obtain all the information they need at any of the contact points. Now, we also have SME reach out under the Productivity Council. Now, about the services to help SMEs to tap overseas markets, there are the Go Global Task Force under the CDB. So according to my understanding, besides helping mainland businesses to come to Hong Kong, the task forces also provide going global services for Hong Kong businesses as well. We also have InnoX, which brings local businesses overseas. Now, in the future, we will continue to invite SMEs to join our overseas visits organized by different parks. Director, any supplements? Concerning support for SMEs, like the Undersecretary said, it is a 4-in-1 integrated service. Just approach any one of these contact points and you'll be able to obtain the service you need. There is also the SME Link, a one-stop platform available. It explains all the available subsidy schemes and also information on transformation and upgrade. Now, the SME Reach Out also provides one-on-one consultation service concerning upgrade and transformation, as well as available subsidy schemes. There are also referral services. Chair, I understand there are 4 contact points of service. But I think we should share the examples of successful cases. We should share the successful examples with the potential applicants so that they know when something works. I don't see any sharing of successful examples on the website, so please do that. Yes, can the director do that? Yes. For example, on the Bud Fund's website, there are successful experiences shared via video. There are also thematic seminars. For example, in late May, we have organized a seminar on the latest enhancement measures to Bud Fund. 80 SMEs representatives have participated. The SME Reach Out between 2000 and 2026, 40,000 inquiries have been handled, and there were more than 70 physical and online seminars and 350 promotional activities. So we will continue with this line of efforts. Now, the activities you have mentioned and also the videos on the Bud Fund's website Are they all available on the website? Or do I have to visit different websites for these services? The keyword here is one-stop. Now for activity is SME link. You can have access to all these activities by the SME link. For videos, they are uploaded onto the BOT website. Most of the information for SMEs has been uploaded onto the BOT website. But is there a link to the BOT Fund's website on the SME link? Mr. Michael Lee, let's talk more after the meeting. It seems that the member is not very happy with the answer, so please continue to enhance the approach. Ms. Michelle Tang, thank you. To help SMEs transform and upgrade and also nurture new quality productive forces, in the 2025 policy address, Mr. John Lee mentioned that there will be enhancement to the DTSPP, an additional $300 million would be injected. I support it. My question is, when considering extension of this scope, would you consider including SMEs in the construction industry? The construction industry, especially SMEs, are faced with very harsh business environments. They need support to enhance their competitiveness. Now, concerning the funding model, can the government explain more? Is that communicated to the SMEs in the construction industry, and are there successful examples to share? Under Secretary. Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Ms. Tang. We're now reviewing the enhancement direction. Of course, more sectors would be covered. We are still in the progress of reviewing the enhancement, and we look forward to reporting to members as soon as possible. Now, about successful examples. In terms of helping SMEs to upgrade and transform, for example, at Tai Pai Tong, there is electronic menus. Operating efficiency has been enhanced, and there's less chance for placing the wrong orders. They're tapping more visitor source, for example, tourists from overseas, and also the dry seafood store, and also we have helped link SMEs with social media platforms. And there is a one-stop interface to conduct inquiries and place order and to follow up on the orders. There are also traveling agencies focusing on the fish village itinerary, whose businesses have improved since receiving help under the DTSPP. And also, the number of applications is very encouraging. So after the enhancements, we hope that more businesses can be benefited.
Dr. Alvin Lee, thank you. A couple of questions. First question is about Easy Bud. This is popular with SMEs. Some SMEs told me the application forms were simplified, but then the subsequent auditing and then the requirements about invoices and the vetting standards were still demanding or onerous. So businesses have to submit receipts for transport fare or hotel expenses, and that's a burden for companies. So as we raise the funding limit for Easy Bud, can we relax the requirements about the audit trail? Can we allow companies to submit an accountant's statement? Can we allow errors in the paper trail so that we can streamline the process? This month, the SME Export Marketing Fund is incorporated into the BUD Fund. The EMF is about marketing. The procedures is simple. But now that the EMS incorporated into the BUD Fund, the BUD Fund is for larger companies with their brand development and upgrading and transformation. The success rate under the BUD Fund was only 35%, so small and medium enterprises are worried that the requirements go up for applications. Will they expect a longer approval time? The EMF applies to a wide range of purposes. Now the incorporation has happened. So what's the assessment of the government? Will the scheme be enhanced after the enhancement is in place for a while? Can we also provide more appropriate support for SMEs? Thank you. We will continue to review the vetting process for the BUD Fund, and where appropriate, we will enhance the process. For the procurement guidelines, for example, for items below $5,000 in value, no quotation is needed, so that's an enhancement. For more costly items, 2 or more quotations will be needed, but no quotation is needed for items below $5,000. Of course, we are open to suggestions about room for improvement on incorporating the EMF into the BUD Fund. Market development is our focus, but in this new era, we want businesses to pursue brand development, upgrading, and transformation. If SMEs want to take part in expos through marketing, the BUD Fund allows businesses to engage in just one form of promotion. The vetting is straightforward. The vetting for the BUD Fund offers greater certainty than for the EMF. The EMF used to take a reimbursement approach, but the BUD Fund takes the pre-approval approach, so there's greater certainty under the BUD Fund for SMEs. The EMF fund offers greater flexibility. If business wants to take part in an expo, they go for the scheme. But for the BUD Fund, if companies have to meet the deadlines for reporting, etc., so the pre-approval does not always happen. I hope the government can monitor the implementation of the scheme and then enhance it. Deputy Director, our performance pledge is that for Easy BUD, once all the documents are needed, we can grant an application in 30 days' time. Mr. Andrew Lam. Some SMEs are more competent than others, and there's a huge gap in this level of adaptness. There was a study from the Hong Kong Productivity Council pointing to different kinds of struggles for SMEs, such as talent, systems, and privacy. Many SMEs have yet to overcome such difficulties. I agree that much has been done on promotion. But when it comes to support for SMEs in overcoming such challenges, do we have enough tools? Where can we do better? Can the government tell us more about that? My next question has to do with funding. I have no objection to incorporating e-commerce easy under the BUD Fund. Just 1% of the funding has been approved. e-commerce is important and it will become ever more important. Is the development in line with expectations? If not, what can we do to improve the performance under Secretary? The HKPC and the HK and the HKTDC can take those questions. On technology, the hottest technology is artificial intelligence. We help SMEs in a variety of ways. First, we talk to SMEs more often to find out about their challenges, we find out about their needs. From our dialogues, we have identified a few things. First, SMEs are not aware of the technology. They're not sure which tools are useful. Second, they struggle to hire the right people. Third, capital. They are worried about being cash-strapped in terms of bringing in the technology. And training is another factor, both for the entrepreneurs and their workers. So for the HKPC, we have to raise the awareness of SMEs when it comes to tech solutions. New developments come up every month, new names emerge, so SMEs are puzzled. That's why we held many events. We have tech for non-tech events. So we try to keep the information accessible so that SMEs learn about what's available. We're also trying to provide training. There will be different kinds of training for SMEs with a focus on the industry. Now, for industry-specific challenges, the situation varies from industry to industry. For the past few months, we worked on different industries such as property management, SMEs. The use of AI varies from industry to industry and also varies from industry between the industry and the government. So we will focus more on professional services, especially for one-man companies. Many professional services are provided or covered by the same person, so the entrepreneur does everything. We want to tell them what tech solutions are out there. We can hold seminars or we can do expos. Companies need solutions. They struggle to tell which solutions can come in handy. And they are also worried about the trustworthiness of the solutions on offer. That's why we will offer platforms for due diligence to test out the solutions. And then the industry can use the technology with confidence. A response from the HKTDC. Thank you. I thank Mr. Lam for his concern for e-commerce and the support for SMEs. Now we have the e-commerce express scheme. There's a Hong Kong Goodies Festival. So this is to help SMEs with setting up an online shopping presence. We also do live commerce for them to try out how to do. So this Hong Kong Shopping Festival started with the mainland and then it will be expanded to the ASEAN countries. The HKTDC works with several e-commerce platforms on talks and seminars on the practical side of operation. We take companies to the headquarters of the Red Note of Bilibili. We teach them how to become influencers online. We have also conducted research. We have published studies. Those are the ways how we support SMEs across the board. On going digital, the HKTDC offers the Digital Academy. It's a fully online platform. It covers the use of AI, how to go about e-commerce, digital marketing, and cross-boundary commerce. So we have hired the gurus from e-commerce who shared experience. 50 events have been held. 160 clips were issued. We served more than 40,000 people. All such services were free of charge. Now it's my turn. I want to ask about e-commerce. SMEs are confronting a huge challenge with upgrading and transformation. The spending pattern has shifted. Failure to market their business online will hurt their competitiveness, and it will even be an existential crisis for SMEs. We're not short of tourist arrivals. We have locals who can spend, but SMEs struggle. That's because we have to move away from the old formula. We have to embrace the internet era. We have to upgrade and transform. And this means expanding overseas. This is crucial to the survival and the future competitiveness of SMEs. We thank the government departments, we thank the HKTDC and the HKPC for their massive effort to support SMEs in Hong Kong. They have done much. Legislative members also care deeply about SMEs' position. We have received inquiries and also complaints from SMEs. They have put forward demands. They want more targeted support. So when it comes to e-commerce, the use of AI, cybersecurity, and green transformation, I have received most of the inquiries from SMEs on these areas because these areas matter for SMEs. Since so much has been done, government departments should evaluate the success of all the measures. Can we look into the results? How well have all these measures worked? I know many seminars were held, events were hosted. For e-commerce, how many SMEs from Hong Kong managed to expand into the mainland market through e-commerce? What are these companies selling? How did they succeed? How much in new business have they secured? How are they transforming themselves? Are we simply going through the motions with what we're doing, or have we produced results? This is not just about SMEs or just electrical. It's also about value for money for taxpayers. On cybersecurity, on the use of AI or agentic AI or green transformation, we have to help SMEs in achieving results. Aside from these schemes, what are our key performance indicators? What are the timelines? We're not chasing after the number of seminars or events we hold. The result should be about how many SMEs have achieved results. We need more numbers to justify our efforts. Is what our approach targeted enough? Is our approach enough? Should we fine-tune our approach? Should we consolidate our resources for better results? The goal of our subcommittee is to achieve those results. Otherwise, a year from now, we come back for the same questions. I've been a legislative member for more than a decade. These questions we got today came up every year. You have put in so much hard work. Surely you want commendation, you want validation, you don't want people berating you. To give us a better picture of the results, we need to see the results. So after the meeting, can you give us a better report? Or if the results are not yet available, can you give us a timeline? And then you submit the results by that time to show us how have things worked.
Under Secretary. Thank you, Chair. I'm grateful for the Chairman's support for measures on supporting SMEs and also for conveying the views of the trade to us. I think we share the same goal. The Chief Executive asks government bureaus and departments to be result-oriented. So concerning the schemes launched by different government departments, the focus is not on the number, but rather being people and business-centric and give them the help they really need. So under the ITC, all the schemes would undergo yearly or periodical reviews. We will also upload some examples of approved cases. Members, including the chair, suggest us to integrate the information we can study offering one-stop information for SMEs from different sectors. And also we need to promote our schemes more so that applicants understand which scheme suits them. So these are directions we will focus on. Now, if the chair allows, I would like to invite Ms. Zhang from the Productivity Council to explain how we are supporting SMEs, or Mr. Zhang. Now, we are supporting SMEs on several fronts. In terms of the impact of our services, the Productivity Council has evaluated our impact on the businesses. We have engaged an international consultancy firm to evaluate our impact on the sector. In terms of test and pilot production projects completed and also contribution to Hong Kong's overall economy, our impact has increased according to the review. We don't have a separate impact study for the SMEs, but we will consider how we can assess our impact on our services for SMEs. Yes, to gauge whether we are actually helping the SMEs, we need statistics. We need to know the number of successful cases undergoing transformation and tapping overseas market. From the reports and the documents on hand, we don't know whether there is an impact. Director. Thank you, Chair. Now, the funds are well received by the industry. We have conducted post-application survey, and more than 90% of the applicants consider the fund useful for upgrading and branding. More than 70% of the respondents said that 1 year after the application, their business footprints in Chinese mainland and the overseas have increased. Concerning more detailed statistics, we will be sure to gather these data in future reports. Yes, I think a simple feedback survey is not sufficient. All successful applicants would say they are happy with the funding they get, but we need to deepen the surveying efforts to know how large the impact is. We need to know whether each dime is well spent. Expectation on funding approval departments has increased. So please consider how you can show the public that your funding schemes are in the right direction and are worth the money. This is the need under the new era. Thank you, Chair. Internally, the government has been enhancing our mechanism. Besides making our schemes more aligned with the market, we are also deepening and widening our efforts. So we would like to report to the subcommittee that we have conducted some integration among our schemes. And also, we have improved the vetting mechanism, and also we are requiring more documentary support. Now, in the past, we would ask fewer questions on the overall contribution to economy and also the benefits for different players along the industry chain. So at present, we are also surveying the applicants on the number of jobs created and also their larger impacts in the industry. So these are indicators in the new era which can facilitate the government to provide better support for the industry. Over the past few years, all government bureaus and departments have been moving along this direction. So we thank the chair and members for your suggestions. Your views have been taken. In conducting yearly review on our schemes, we will consider your views and step up on our promotional efforts. We look forward to providing more comprehensive statistics to members and society concerning the impacts of our schemes. Thank you, government officials. So that concludes the discussion of this item. Thank you very much for attending today's meeting. Item 2, the next meeting is tentatively scheduled in October this year. There will be a joint meeting with the Subcommittee on the Development of AI and Robotic Technology. The item will be industry application of AI and robotic technologies. You will be notified of the schedule soon. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.